Due to the graphic nature of the following content, that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
disciples. We're going to talk to you about the most urgent thing that is on our mind, and what we suspect is the most urgent thing on the minds of those who will connect with us. Planet Earth is about to be recycled. Your only chance to evacuate is to leave with us. Planet Earth about to be recycled. Your only chance to survive or evacuate is to leave with us.
Turn on faster. He did something. What did he do? He was like crouched down, like looking at something, or picked something up off the ground or something like that. Damn it.
Yeah. So those videos there were that we just watched. Some of them were from movies. If you've ever seen the movie Paranormal Activity, it's a fictional movie, but just hold on a minute. Of course, an ambulance has to go by blaring its sirens. The only time I speak in 10 hours. Just goes by in the first minute. So anyways, yeah, that's my life. But no, that's what I've been doing for the last 2 days, is just looking at videos on YouTube of paranormal activity, awkward videos, weird videos. Some of those videos apparently were found on the Darknet. I don't know if that's true or not. Like exclusive to the Darknet and then brought to YouTube by whoever. I gotta give a little bit of credit where credit is due, I guess, to a channel. I can't remember its name actually, so I'm not gonna give it any credit. But they brought the videos onto YouTube, and either it was either they brought the videos onto YouTube, or they just took them from someone else's channel who brought them onto YouTube from the Darknet. So that's all I'm doing here, is I'm just reposting, because those are, out of all I looked at about roughly 40 or 50 of them. Those were the only ones that I actually found to be like replayable and interesting. I've noticed some very interesting artistic, sadistic, like interpretations of black magic and what's that? Yeah, black magic or the Haitians are famous for it. They call it voodoo. There was some Illuminati stuff on there, some satanic, like devil worshippers or whatever. I'm not sure if it's real or fake though, honestly. Like, some people will just make videos to get attention and they'll say it's real, but really it's not. Like, it's not actually a real event. It's just a fictional interpretation of what actually took place, or what they think took place. The nanny cam, that was from Paranormal Activity, where the girl gets basically she gets kidnapped by a monster, and monsters under the bed. Everybody's always warning their kids, about monsters under the bed or whatever. In that movie, and they try to make the movie look so real, and it does, it really does. That's the scary part about it. But it's not real, so don't let that fool you. And then the last one too, where that guy is just staring out from the window. in the street. I think that was from Paranormal Activity 3, if I'm not mistaken. One of the final ones. And they just happened to, they happen to have some very good ideas. But yeah, so anyways, I don't know why I'm putting these up. I find them interesting. There's no way in hell that they're gonna, like, there's one there, that guy was cutting his teeth and face and around his mouth there, like Frankenstein or whatever. I believe that was from an exorcism movie. Again, I don't think that was real. I think that he was possessed by a demon, and what that demon ended up doing was taking over his whole body, and this has actually happened to people in real life, but they don't really get that. They don't really get it on video like that. Not normally anyways. Yeah, so there was some other things on there that really struck me. But I don't know. I don't know how anybody could ever imagine these types of things happening, but I guess that's just how people are. Now, why these videos would not be permissible on the regular web, that's not, like, why they would make them exclusive to the Darknet. I don't know. Maybe for, like, just on the, like, off chance that some of these scenes are true, like they actually did happen, that they can remain in it anonymous and their confidentiality remains hidden, like remains whatever, So, like, if honestly, if I try to put myself in their shoes, if I was one of those people trying to make one of those videos, if I was going to post it on the internet and it was real, I would probably post it on the Darknet, honestly. You'd be stupid not to. But I've been on the regular internet, and I've always, like, even as a teenager, I was always interested in watching just, like, gross, gory, nasty videos that just turned your stomach and made you feel sick. And, I could sit here and tell you what was in the contents of those videos, like, basically just, like, really disgusting. I hate how we don't, like, they tell us we have freedom of speech on YouTube, but I feel like we don't. After you go ahead and if you read the YouTube community guidelines, we really don't have freedom of speech on YouTube to just talk about whatever we want. But I remember stumbling, because due to some online Xbox friends that knew where to find these nasty videos, because I don't know, they were just into that kind of thing. Just, like, nasty sex videos with, like, fecal matter, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think somebody literally took a bag and, like, put it over their head and had somebody, like, basically use that bag as a toilet. Yeah, and they actually put that on video and then, like, posted it to the internet. And they get, like, pleasure out of this stuff. And I'm just sitting there going, like, I'm scarred for life now. This is disgusting. So there was that. There was some other stuff. It's a very foggy memory. I'm 30 years old now. That was 15, 20 years ago that I used to watch those types of things. But I've seen some very nasty stuff before. Like, they used to have videos on LimeWire, which LimeWire was like the predecessor to Napster. So it was just like a music app where you could download free music, but they also had, like, videos and stuff on there for people all around the world that you could just download for free. And I remember, like, they had some pretty heinous crimes on there. It'd be like terrorists, kidnapping. They had kidnapped a woman and they had her, like, basically pinned down to a chair, and she had no chance of escaping. And then just to, like, make an example of her, they took a revolver, a handgun, and just pointed it at the back of her head or something like that, or the front of her head, and just popped her. And then they posted that to LimeWire, and this was like literal terrorists. So don't get me wrong, like people all the time will say, oh yeah, the dark net is where you find all these videos, all the nastiest videos and stuff like that. But it's not true. Like, if you look hard enough, I watched a guy drink bleach. I don't know if that's true or not. But there was actually like about I would say about 10 years ago, close to 10 years ago, there was a video of a guy that had gone in his backyard with a bottle of bleach and just started chugging the whole thing. And it was one of the weirdest videos ever to watch, like, in my life, to watch somebody do that. And then the aftermath of that, and it looked real. I don't know if it was real or if it was staged. But let me just say, he was not a healthy character after that episode. I'm not sure if he ended up surviving or what, but I often ask myself, why would somebody go to the extent of drinking an entire bottle of bleach on camera and then posting it to the internet? Makes perfect sense to them, but it makes no sense to a person like me. I don't know about y'all, but I believe them when I read the back of a bottle, like the warning labels and stuff that says like extremely corrosive. Will rot. It will basically evaporate your insides if you drink this stuff. So don't do it. And people are like, okay, so I'll drink this stuff? Is that what you're saying? And they actually do it. So there's that. And really in the end, there's like, who would admit that was fake anyways? Like, why would you go out and do all that work just to in the end admit that it was fake after getting all that attention? So I don't know. I just sit here as an observer. I don't know the answers to any of these questions. Some of the stuff in those videos looks awfully real though, but in the end, I'm not gonna, without any hard evidence to suggest that they are actually true stories that people are filming as these heinous things. Some of them aren't even crimes. Like, I guess self-mutilation could be considered a crime in some areas, but honest, it's not like if you're like harming yourself is not really the same as harming somebody else. It's not really taken as seriously in Canada, at least. If it's taken seriously, but if you're going to harm someone else, they take that much more seriously than if you were to just harm yourself. And it's much easier to harm yourself, I would feel, than to harm someone else, and like not get incarcerated or shipped off to the mental unit or something like that for it. So trying to think of what other nasty occurrences I've seen on the public internet, like out for, your kids could be watching this, your very sensitive, like teenagers preteens could be watching this stuff. It's just posted out there publicly, like 900 million times worse than the videos that are in this video, like just out there. I have no idea how these people get this stuff on the internet and then it does not get taken down by the Department of Justice or any I don't know. I don't even know who's responsible for getting this kind of content off the internet, but there's a difference between horror movies, like blood and gore and what you're gonna get, that type of thing, which is what most of this stuff is, or just like artistic creations of depictions of scenes that don't really show anything that really, in my opinion, crosses the line between acceptable and not acceptable. But then we get into those videos where people are doing all kinds of crazy sexual acts. I'm not talking about illegal like stuff, but I'm talking just about like the nasty side of sex that nobody ever wants to see. Like, just like most people anyway, they just don't want to see it. Or even they think they want to see it, and then they see it and they don't want to see it anymore. So, yeah, that was my experience of it. Like when I used to go and they'd be like, watch this video or watch this, just nasty. And I'd be like, okay, I'll watch that. Then I'd watch it and I never watched again. I was like, classic example. I apologize in advance to the people that don't know about this, but the first, like, really, oh my God, the first nasty video that really ever came popular was the blue waffle. I'm not going to get into what that entails, but yeah, and then I saw one time of like a woman, she got an STD in her area, if you know what I'm saying. And it was so bad. Sorry, I have to share this. It got so bad that she actually had like worms and maggots like visible to the naked eye crawling in and out. Surgeries have been posted online, and this, I'm talking public domain. Surgeries of people that have gotten like stomach worms, of like the worms getting taken out of the stomach, like pulled out with forceps by the like Brazilian doctors. Or these videos they were out there. I'm not sure if they still exist, but they were out there many years ago. And I wouldn't know where to find them because I forget, but just stuff like that just screws with you. These things really do happen, you know? These were true stories. Like these things actually did happen. Oh man. Yeah. Like a guy shoving his entire head, like not his head, but his head up a female's area was on the internet, and it was just absolutely nasty, absolutely gross. Oh man. Yeah. I think they even had a guy like actually literally like inside of a snake pit, if I remember this correctly. Oh no, this can't be true. I know that Steve-O or Johnny Knoxville and Jackass got inside of an anaconda pit, was like getting bit by anacondas, if I'm not mistaken. But this was more like, this was more on the like unknown side of the video world, where I think someone was getting like bitten by actual snakes. I don't know if that's true or not though, if I'm just imagining things. He was actually like placed inside of a live snake pit and then just like getting bitten by snakes or something. I don't know. Anyways, so I know that sometimes it can be extremely difficult to differentiate the true from the false, the fantasy from reality. But here's my take on it. If I can't see it with my own two eyes, then I have a right to question it and to not believe that it is true. But I also don't have the capacity to believe that it's, that it wouldn't have happened most of the time. So if we shift our focus over to the Darknet again just for a moment, and we're looking at places like red rooms, which actually do exist, where people get tortured, mutilated, and often killed on cam for people to pay for, like pay-per-view and see and watch, which is, you know, this is actually real. That stuff actually does happen. So there's that. Like illegal sexual acts and things like that happening live on camera do exist on the Darknet that wouldn't be public even on the Darknet. So this just adds a whole extra layer of security to cyber criminals that are participating in those type of crimes today. So, but yeah, just to sum up that thought and kind of close off this video, there was one, I think that one of the guy like that looked like Frankenstein. Possibly, if anyone's ever seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I believe that may have been the actual video footage of the man who we came to know as Leatherface. So who, you know, if you don't know who that is, I'm not going to sit here and explain it. But basically, if you don't know who Leatherface is and if you wanna go look that up, it's called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was it happened way back I believe in the 1970s, if I'm not mistaken. In the 1970s, if I'm not mistaken. I could be very wrong. Probably wrong, but anyways, back in the day of old 8mm film. But anyways, so basically he turns into a very, there's something just not right about that family. There's something just not, I'm not sure how to go about explaining this. He's a very interesting story, and it was true. And they did do a remake of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know, so I highly recommend, if you want a good chill, go watch that movie. I'm not very good at explaining these kinds of things, but anyways, basically I think that was the birth, and they did find some what they claim to be true video footage, but again, I'm not a believer. So they claim it's true, but it's played in a fictional movie that was based on a true story. They claim that it was real and that it was found, you know, at that location. That he killed 2 cops as they were going to search. But somehow the video footage got captured on, you know, on a recording, and the evidence was not destroyed on the scene, which, yeah, there's too much that I would, you know, there's just not enough evidence for me to suggest that it could be real. But there's also not enough evidence for me to suggest that it is complete phony either. So if you want to go see that, it's at the end of the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I do believe it's in the original as well at some point. Oh, man. But it's definitely at the end of the remake. So, yeah. Sometimes people just have a corrupt mind. And they get off on scaring people. They get off on creeping people out. They get off on all sorts of things that normal, quote unquote, normal human beings don't normally find appealing. So they'll make, they'll go above and beyond making a feature film that could be popularized and made into something that would end up in your local movie theater. And they'll take it beyond that, and it'll stay independent. And someone will eventually stumble upon it on the Darknet, and maybe that is their intent. Maybe their intent is to have it basically in a time capsule for somebody to discover, as if they were walking through the woods and discover a new whatever. They, as if they're surfing the net, they obviously are looking, because we have these, they're called these quote unquote Darknet Frontiers. So they will just literally go on the Darknet just to search for like undiscovered videos or like hidden gems or something like that. But what they end up usually finding is something that they didn't want to find. So, or they'll buy a mystery box and it'll appear in the mystery box. Somebody will give it to them. But they're actually paying for that. A lot of times they claim in these mystery box videos that they got sold all this murder evidence, but I'm not 100% sold on that. Because I'm the type of person that I understand there's a lot of people out there that just want to get attention and they just want to make money. And what better way to do that than to stage the murder and sale of a mystery box that you get shipped. But then it always leads me to my second question. Why are so many people out there doing this that have no relation to another, to each other's channels? And they seem to be getting shipped all these illegal mystery boxes with stuff in them that you just never want to see. The limbs or the videos of a murder or leading up to a murder or the aftermath of a murder. Psychopaths with websites requesting all kinds of things, like things that just people, they're illegal things, like ship me, like they want the kidnapping of a real human being so that they can use it for their psychotic purposes. And like this stuff's on the Darknet, like actual like Craigslist and like actual like ads for like just the most twisted of things. And this is real though. This is actually real. Like, anyways, maybe it's not, but I feel as though it is. I feel as though it is. The Darknet is a real place. And real crimes do happen on the Darknet. Drugs are being sold on the Darknet every day. People are being murdered and maimed and tortured on the Darknet every day. Hitmen are being hired for contract, apparently on the Darknet each and every day. So life is happening in all facets, and it's basically total freedom with the anonymity that the Darknet has to offer. So if basically the message I get from all that, after all the stuff that I've experienced over the last couple of weeks researching the Darknet, security is a lie. It's an illusion. If you think you're secure, if you think you're safe in this world and that you're untouchable and that nobody could ever hurt you, think again. It's not true. But does that mean you need to sit there and worry and, count your blessings and, until the time of an impending, imminent death? No. That wouldn't be good either. I know that they say that there is some good on the dark net, but I beg to differ on that. It really is true. Well, why are they putting up so many nasty darknet videos and basically giving the image? They're saying, oh, the darknet's not all bad. Well, they're putting up pretty much to this point. All I've seen is nasty darknet videos. They're portraying the worst, hackers and credit card frauds and thieves, murderers, rapists, child predators, just predators in general. Everything that you can possibly imagine that your mind would just tell you, like, no, this is not good, don't go here, is on the dark net. So for them to say that it's not all bad, well, you're not convincing me of that. I'm not convinced that the dark net has any relevance, like in terms of goodness at this point, that they couldn't just have it on the regular public web. I do believe that the dark net's been taken over by criminals, hackers, sadists, numerous psychopaths and sociopaths, because they can hide behind their veil of anonymity and remain invisible while sitting behind a computer screen, which is much less, they think that there's much of a less chance of them getting caught than if they were doing that type of stuff right out in the open, which they are anyway. Eventually their business goes from the screen to real person. So drug dealers and, smuggling operations, bringing illegal items and illegal sexual acts to, all this stuff, it exists. I'm done talking about it. I just had to share that. I had to get it off my mind because it was on my mind. I'm still going to be doing some darknet exploring. I don't know if I'll ever go on the darknet. I've never been on the darknet. It doesn't seem safe to go on the darknet. I would say it's, with an inexperienced chap such as myself, it's probably a 50-50 chance of me getting hacked or, busted for some sort of cybercrime on there. I mean, what would you go on there for? To play Jenga? Like, you're going to go on the dark net. You're probably going to end up doing something illegal at some point. So I would say that it's probably just best for me to stay off there, stay away from the temptation. And a lot of people, what they end up doing is they end up getting hooked. That's a lot of the stories too I've heard. They say that they end up getting hooked to the crimes because it's so, it's so exciting. And I don't want to be one of those statistics. I don't want to get involved with a crime lab, a crime organization, and then end up getting sucked into their operation. So, yeah. So I think we'll part ways for today. I'm just gonna go back to my life. You can go back to yours. If you're new to the channel, just do 3 things right quick before you go. Just quickly tap the subscribe button and leave a like and a comment. And actually 4 things is share the video, share the channel with people so that everybody can see it, and that's that.